Okay, hello everyone. My name's Alan Phillips, and this is a 25-minute presentation for my BA 457 course at University of Alaska. I've chosen the topic of disaster preparedness, and I've given you some slides, handout of some slides, and I'll go over these slides in the beginning. When we're done, we'll play a disaster Jeopardy game. That game, there'll be a prize in the end, and we'll split up into teams, and everybody will get to answer some questions and have some fun with this and maybe learn something as well. So if there are any questions as I go along, please raise your hand and ask the questions. So, what do we want to prepare for? There's a lot of different things that we want to prepare for. The first one is natural disasters. Natural disasters happen every day around the world. Natural disasters include things like flooding, hurricanes, tornadoes, or any event that basically is spawned by Mother Nature. Natural disasters are costly and they can threaten lives. Second event we want to prepare for is man-made disasters. During man-made disasters, again, they're costly and they can cost lives, and those are generally things like if we have a nuclear incident at a nuclear power plant or anything like that that could cause a man-made structure or a man-made type of an event that caused damage. Third item on the list is terrorism. Terrorism happens around the world every day. If you just look at some of the recent headlines, you'll see what I mean by that. And in Boston here, we had a terrorist event a number of years ago, which was a homegrown terrorist event. I'll talk more about that later once I get to the terrorist slide. And the final category is business or work disruption. During that business or work disruption category, if you had an event that caused you to move, if you had a cyber attack or something where you had to change your structures or move from there, you'd want to have a plan in place that would allow you to. You'd want to have a preparedness kit and stuff that you could take with you. A work preparedness kit and a home preparedness kit are two different things. A home preparedness kit is basically for you, for your self-sustainment, and a work preparedness kit is for your work self-sustainment. Work preparedness kit could include things like laptops, extra cords, battery chargers, and so on. So we'll talk a little bit about hurricanes. If you take a look at the photo here, you'll see there's some flooding, severe flooding from a recent hurricane event. Hurricanes, we know about those in advance. Hundreds of years ago, they did not know about hurricanes in advance the way they do now. Now we have a lot of radar and a lot of other equipment, so we know when a hurricane is coming, and we have time to prepare for it. We want to prepare for that by our disaster kits and by boarding up our houses and so on. And also, hurricanes trigger a lot of tornadoes. The winds typically are stronger on the right-hand side, so if you're in a state that's on the right-hand side getting the effects of a hurricane, you're going to get more tornadoes than you are if you're on the left-hand side. If you're on the left-hand side, you're going to get more flooding from that event. And again, flooding is the costliest and biggest disasters that we face in both Massachusetts and the United States. Here you'll see a chart. In this chart you'll see a little bit about the, starting in 1900 and going to the year 2010. You'll see a little bit about hurricanes by the years. You see it comes up, it peaks, then it drops off, peaks again, drops off. And so in 2010 we've had the highest number of major hurricanes. This marks major hurricanes in these 10-year time spans. So we've had the highest number in 2010. And the new data will be out for 2020, and I believe that number will go even higher than this. So we are on a different changing weather pattern, as evidenced by this slide. Here's some information about tornadoes. Tornadoes are measured on what they call a fajita scale. Fajitas are the things I like to eat. So I don't know what happened with that right there, but anyway, moving on. An EF0 has a wind speed of 65 to 85 miles an hour, where people are laughing at me right now and they're making me laugh. So anyway, if we go to an EF5, they have a wind speed of around 200 miles an hour. And again, more common, you'll see EF1s, EF2s, and probably EF3s. Here's some photos of a recent tornado we had in Springfield. You'll see there's some crushed cars with the trees. There's houses that are destroyed down here. All kinds of wires down and so on. This was somebody's yard. That's a back deck with the trees down. And again, that's a car where there was actually a person in that car. They went through to get out of the storm outside. They did make it through the event. Typically you hear brick buildings are the safest buildings, but you can see here this was a brick building that was destroyed. The roof is gone. If you look into this photo here, that was the contents of somebody's house that's got crushed again by trees. And if you look at the bottom photo here, that was in downtown. You can see the cars and all the debris and wreckage right here. So as I mentioned before, terrorism, most of the terrorist events that happen are not from foreign extremists. Most of the terrorist events that happen in the United States are from homegrown terrorists. Homegrown terrorist simply is somebody that was born and raised here that has turned to terrorism. Foreign extremists are those folks from another country that come here to perform terrorist events. During the event we had in 2012, I believe it was, when the Boston Marathon bombing occurred, we had 3 citizens and 1 police officer who lost their lives in that event. Not all terrorists, as I said, are Al-Qaeda. More terrorists are non-affiliated than are affiliated. So, yes, you can ask your question.
Would a bomb go under a man-made disaster or terrorism?
A bomb it would depend on what the disaster was. If it was a bomb that simply exploded by mistake, maybe it's a piece of munitions that the Navy had that they used for practice or something, and then that exploded, that would go under man-made. If it was something that was detonated to intentionally kill or hurt people or scare them, that would go under terrorism. That's a great question. Nobody's ever asked that question before. Perfect. Okay, so preparedness plans. As we said, you want to make a plan, exercise your plan, and you want to make sure the people in your family know about the plan, they know how it works. If they don't know about the plan, they can't utilize it. You want to have a communications plan. You want to be able to call people from out of state that may not be affected and give them information that you're okay, so that your loved ones can call there to check on you instead of tying up the phone lines that would be used here. And again, pets plan. During Katrina, 1,833 people lost their lives. A large portion of those were people that wanted to stay in their home. They did not want to leave their dogs, cats, and other pets. So they stayed in their home, and unfortunately they lost their lives because of it. So now most states, including Massachusetts, has a plan for pets. Almost every shelter now will take pets, and those that don't will let the pets be housed nearby in other shelters that have been set up. So here you see a picture of a disaster kit. This is one that's prepared by MEMA that sits out front. You can see here we have some duct tape, we have lighters, batteries, flashlights, radio. Over here we have some food and different items that you might need. Here we're talking specifically about food and water. Up here you'll see some canned goods. The problem with canned goods is you have to heat the items, the contents. You have to open the can and put them into a pan and heat the items. If you have these are called heater meals, or they're also known as MREs, which are meals ready to eat, or as I call them, meals rejected by everyone. But those things there are self-heating. You can light a little, or there's a little packet in there you squeezed and it'll heat up the food. Down here we talk about water. There's a set amount of water that you should have per person per day, and that's 1 gallon. That water, you should have enough for 3 days. Enough for 72 hours. If you have enough for the 72 hours, you should be fine with outside sources getting to you to help, and those outside sources would usually come from your local government, state government, or federal government. Down here, if you can't sustain yourself with the water and you have to use water that's been sitting outside or may not be any good, a lot of people used to put water in their bathtubs in case they needed it, but the problem is then they had to use it, they got sick because of the bacteria. So the only way that you can use that water is by boiling it. If you boil it rapidly for 5 minutes, the water should be safe. The other option is you can purchase tablets from camping stores or from Walmart, and those tablets will allow you to purify the water. Or if you have nothing else, you can use Clorox bleach. You put 1 drop of water in a gallon and let it set for 60 minutes, and that'll kill any bacteria, and it's 100% safe to drink. Here I got a few more items. I have duct tape, can opener, waterproof matches, first aid kit, and a hand crank radio. We say hand crank radios because they don't require batteries. You just turn the crank and it'll work. And the same thing with flashlights. They sell hand crank radios and flashlights in most stores now. And as we said, it takes 72 hours before the federal government will get to you, or at least that's what they tell you to plan on. It may be a little bit longer, it may be a lot less, but that again depends on the situation and how many people they have to rescue and what they have to go through to get to you. So you want to always prepare on 72 hours. Now we're going to have some fun. We're going to play the Disaster Jeopardy game. Here are the rules. We're going to do 2 teams. Team 1, Michelle, you'll lead Team 1. You'll answer for them. You'll be the Blizzards. Team 2 will be led by Madison. You'll answer for them, and you'll be the Tornadoes. I will be the scorekeeper, and I will decide if the answer is close enough to give you credit. Whichever team wins, they'll get a $5 scratch ticket to share amongst the team members, and the losing team will get a $1 scratch ticket to share. So there's some monetary value to this, to you wanting to win this. And Disaster Jeopardy. So I'm your host, Alan Trebek. Here's your Jeopardy board. You can see you have different categories and different dollar amounts. The higher the dollar amount, the harder the question. The lower the dollar amount, the easier the question, or so that's the theory. And the categories are preparedness, really, take cover, who said that, which is the hardest category on here, and picture that, which is the funnest category on here. So we'll start with Team 1, which would be the Blizzards. Which would you like?
I would like preparedness for 100, please.
So what is the most prevalent and costly disaster in the United States?
Flooding.
Flooding. That is correct. That would be 100 points for that team. Okay, tornadoes. What would you like?
I'll do picture that for 100.
Picture that for 100. So you have to tell me what the picture is, and you get an extra, whatever the value is, you get an extra half of that if you know what the event is too. So what is that movie from? Or what is that from what movie?
I don't know.
You don't know.
But it looks like they are having a tornado.
Well, you got to get the movie first. If you don't get that, you don't get any credit. You don't know. Okay. I will tell you that is, no, your team cannot answer it. I will tell you that is from The Wizard of Oz.
Oh.
And you were correct, that is a tornado. Okay, blizzards.
I'm going to go with really for 100.
So, this is pink snow. What causes this phenomenon? You you have to answer now, or I have to
Yep.
move on?
I'm talking with my teammate, do you know?
Okay.
I
You-
don't know
It's
that.
done. All right, that is caused by algae. It's found in California and Sierra Nevada mountains, and in the alpine regions of Colorado, and it's actually pink snow.
Huh.
So you hear a lot about eating yellow snow. Don't eat the pink snow either. Okay, tornadoes.
Take cover for 100.
Take cover for 100. What do you do if you're driving and you see a tornado?
Pull over.
And what are you going to do when you pull over?
Get out.
And do what?
Hide under the car.
I thought I was going to get you there.
Hide away from the car.
No. It's you guys lost it. Okay. Just get in a ditch or drive in right turns away from the tornado. Here's a key thing though. Don't drive in like 4 right turns because you'll be right back where you started from. Okay? So that's no points. You are minus 200 on your team and your team is a 0. You guys are doing well so far. Okay. Your team.
Picture that for 200.
What movie is that from and what is the disaster?
Backdraft.
And what is the disaster?
A fire.
That is correct.
My team did that one.
Backdraft and a fire. Oh, that didn't work right. Okay. So now we'll go to tornadoes.
Preparedness for 200.
Preparedness for 200. How much water should you plan to have on hand for a disaster?
A gallon per person.
That is correct. So that brings
For
your
72
team to
hours.
0.
For 72 hours. I might
So that brings your team to 0. It's 1 gallon per person per day. Remember that per day part next time.
For 72 hours.
Okay,
Let's
blizzards.
go with really for 200.
Really for 200. Which state has the most tornadoes every year?
Texas.
Texas is correct.
Oh, really?
They average 110 tornadoes per year. You would think it's Kansas or Oklahoma or one of those, but it's actually Texas. And how much was that? 200?
Yes.
So your team has 400 points, and your team is a 0. You're not in the negative anymore. Okay, next.
Preparedness for 3.
What does EOC
Emergency
stand for?
Operating Center.
It's Emergency Operations Center, but I will give that to you. It's close enough. An EOC is the Emergency Operations Center, and that's where all the disaster relief is coordinated through.
Did my team take the lead?
No, you're behind by 100 points. I'm not going to give you any more until the end. Let you guys figure out where you're at. All right, blizzards.
Preparedness for 400, please.
Can an EOC be virtual?
Yes.
Minus 400.
Oh, no.
You are even. An EOC cannot be virtual. The thing is, you can conduct the functions of an EOC virtually, but an EOC itself is a brick and mortar structure, and therefore it cannot be virtual.
That makes sense.
Of course it does, or it wouldn't be in this presentation. Tornadoes. You are ahead, by the way.
I will take really for 300.
Really, for 300. What common household item can be used to purify water, no matter how tainted it is?
Clorox.
Clorox what?
Bleach.
That was for 300? Okay, you guys have 600. Next time you might want to confer with your members there, just to make sure. I see you were answering on your own. Okay, Blizzard, you better get moving.
We're gonna take really for 400.
Really, for 400? Okay, what does Lila, I can't even say it, Lilopsophobia mean? Stop Googling, no. Okay, you guys lost that one.
Okay.
It means a fear of hurricanes and tornadoes, twisters.
Oh man.
All right,
I'm not doing so good.
next team.
Oh,
You guys are next. Wait, how much was that? You guys are minus
400.
400. Okay.
what do you want?
It's not. No, just pick. You can ask them for the
I
answers.
can't ask them that.
You're the
Okay.
team captain, so you have to pick it.
Take cover for 200.
Take cover for 200. We're going back to the cheapies. Okay. Daily double. So, how much of yours do you want to wager on the daily double? You have 600.
2.
200 you're wagering. During a tornado, should you open the windows or leave them closed?
Should we open the windows or keep them closed? We say open them.
No. It doesn't matter. The tornado's not going to say the window's open, I'm going to go through, or it's closed, I'm going to go around, it's going to break the windows. You don't want to waste the time opening up the windows. You want to get in the basement or get under cover. If they're closed, leave them closed. If they're open, leave them open. So you guys have 400 and your team has minus 400. Okay. Well, never mind. I hit the wrong button. So that's your question. From the
Okay.
time you hear the last clap of thunder, how long before it is safe to go outside?
5 minutes.
No.
30.
Now we come back. Okay, let's go to the question now. If I get it right. There we go.
30.
30 minutes. Lightning can hit from miles away. It
Yeah.
could be as far as 30 miles away and still hit.
Yeah, I didn't listen to my team. I should have. They said that.
So you guys are minus 700.
Oops.
Okay. You guys have 400. What do you want?
Who said that for 100?
Ooh, that's a tough category. Plans are nothing, planning is everything. I'll give you a hint on some of these because this is a hard category. This was a past president.
What do you guys think?
Okay, I need an
We
answer.
say Obama.
Incorrect. That was Dwight Eisenhower. Very famous quote by Eisenhower. All right.
Take cover for 400. We're gonna take.
Uh-oh. Going for the big one. What type of tree is struck by lightning more than others?
Maple.
No. Oak tree. It's because they're typically taller than others and they hold more moisture, they hold more water, so they attract more lightning. However, you should not be taking cover under any tree. Okay, your team.
Yeah.
You are minus 1,100. All right, you guys. Tornadoes.
I'll take picture that for 300.
Okay, we got to come to a close here real soon, so we'll do 2 more questions, and that's pretty much it.
Oh my god, it's the one about
Time is up. Do you know it?
the one about the guy on the bridge in Boston.
No. It's called Flood,
Oh.
and it's a flooding event. Okay,
So can I do picture that?
one more question each, and that's it.
Picture that for 400.
Picture that for 400. What movie is this from?
That's one of those teen
Can we steal?
center of
Okay.
the world, center of the earth.
No,
something.
that's it. It's called From the
Core.
Core, and it's a disruption to the Earth's magnetic field. So a disaster most people don't think about. All right, one more for you.
My team will take Who Said That 200.
Who said that for 200? I always tried to turn every disaster into an opportunity.
Where's my hand?
I'm going to not give you a hint on this one.
Alright. Mima.
No. John D. Rockefeller. Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Let's finish this because we got two more. And whoever is less in the hole, and then we'll do, actually, let's just go to Final Jeopardy because you guys are both too far in the hole. So I'm going to give you both $200, okay? And with that $200, you can bet as much as you want on your Final Jeopardy. Before we go to the question, actually, I'll show you, no, I won't show you the question. How much of your $200 do you want to wager?
100.
How much of your $200 do you want to wager?
My team says 100.
You can't, you guys will tie, so
150, they say.
150, that's a better choice. All right, your Final Jeopardy question. Some are 75 or 12. Is this real? This is from Hurricane Sandy. There's a shark in the water there. Is this a real photo?
No.
My team says
What's your answer?
my team says no.
Okay, you're correct, and you're correct. That is not real. This was made up and it was put out in the media just to give you an idea of sometimes how the media can be incorrect. And there's your Final Jeopardy answer. Jaws was not in the neighborhood. So, the question is, are you ready? And there's my contact information if you have any more questions about either the game or about this. And Madison, your team won the scratch ticket. You guys got the $1 scratch ticket. And thank you very much for playing.